Hello and good afternoon. Thank you so much for watching NTV. My name is Malcolm Simi. We've been working on a couple of stories, and it's NTV at One for now, coming live from the Serena Conference Center. We bring you the headlines first, and starting with the floods. Over 200 people are affected as drought hits several districts in eastern Uganda. Also, security has recovered army equipment from Barara. Demonstrations expected in Egypt as Friday prayers by supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi. You're watching NTV at One. You're welcome once again to NTV at One Friday afternoon. Now, a drought has been reported in the Maingo district, with the sub-counties of Sigulu, Mutumba, Banda, Buyenja, Buswali and Buhemba reported as the worst hit. Close to 200 people are said to have been affected.
Asante Naigaga is a mother of 4. She is 47 years old and a resident of Chifuyo village in Buyenja sub-county. She says she had used over 100,000 shillings to prepare her 1.5-acre garden, but her crop has been affected by the drought. She has been depending mostly on maize, both for sale and home consumption, but now she has nothing. Several residents have complained of the same, and their granaries lie empty. The drought has not only affected the crops, but also the wells. The residents now spend several hours at the few boreholes in the area, waiting for their turn to get water. At Kifuyo Primary School, there is one borehole, and the women are said to fetch water late into the night, as the lines of those wanting the same are too long.
You can see, since nature is not all the time managed by man, we have found that the situation we are in is not going to favor us harvest like we would have expected.
The LC5 chairman, Waiswa Obondo, says at this point, the people need all the help they can get.
Sometimes droughts are, tagged to drought or coal burning. Let's go over to Mbara now. Over 100 people have been arrested there in a security operation, and according to information from police, some of the suspects were found with genuine police and army uniforms, and some people arrested and detained were army deserters.
34 people of the 500 people rounded up in a cordon and search operation 2 days ago in Barra town have a case to answer.
We're going to take these people to court. They're going to be charged with different offenses. Some of them were found with traffic offenses. Some were found with suspected stolen property. Some were found with government stores.
Among the items recovered are the 10 pairs of army uniforms, sets of police uniforms, gumboots and pair of binoculars, which are suspected to have been used in committing crime.
Because most of the uniforms has already been phased out. It's no longer uniform for the army, no longer uniform for the police, but when people put it on, they will appear as if they are from police. For example, we no longer use this belt.
Police are also warning people who wear clothes that are similar to those of the army and police.
And this is what they use most. So if somebody puts on this and attacks somebody, they will believe that this person is from the military, and actually they will believe this person has a gun with them. So if anybody is found with clothes that resemble military or police uniform, they have committed an offense and they will be arrested.
The operation is yet to be extended to areas like Ntungamo, Ibanda, Kiuhura and Bushenyi district, where police say criminal activities are rampant.
And not so long ago, authorities banned clothes of military fatigue I don't know, whatever happened to that move. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Kale Kaihura, has condemned the shooting of a 15-year-old who was shot in the head by police during running battles with drivers demonstrating high penalty fees. And General Kaihura visited the home of a boy in Naminya village in Wakisi sub-county in Buikwe district. He grieved the regional police commander, Ben Mubanjizi, and DPC Chris Kayumba over the incident, but offered 1 million shillings to the family of the deceased and promised more support to the family. The 15-year-old Shakul Kainaki was buried yesterday at his ancestral home. Government is planning a new policy on employment that will address skills, financing and clustering of production. This after pressure from the high unemployment levels estimated at 83% in the country, according to Youth Minister Ronald Chibule. Financial institutions will also be required under the policy to design credit lines for youngsters.
Creation of self-employment by such youths is never an easy task, particularly in identifying financing streams as well as building the necessary skills over time so as to grow their businesses.
The problem we are getting here, the competition we are having with Indians here in Namuongo here. So here we are trying, and also the place is very expensive. That's the problem we are getting. So we need support from the government. We need, because here we need the big places like here. We can do our showroom. We can show our people what we are making, but the place is small.
But with actual employment among educated youths ranked at nearly 83%, government admits that the Youth Venture Capital Fund in itself may not ensure sufficient spread of financing, thus the need for a policy around employment with broader indicators.
As government, we are reviewing other means to enable them access this money. We are proposing to keep this money in the Bank of Uganda, but then we are designing the youth livelihood program that would easily target the beneficiaries, and it will be easy for the beneficiaries to access this money through various banks, not only the participating banks as it was.
Ronald Chibuli, the State Minister for Youth, was speaking at Wabigalo Community Center in Namuongo at an event that saw the Management Training and Advisory Center skill small business startups located in the slums.
To become entrepreneurs. So this study was done. We know most of you are already entrepreneurs, but you can become better entrepreneurs by undertaking the programs that help implement among them this job creation awareness campaign.
Experts have time and again reasoned that both borrowed funds as well as grants to micro and medium enterprises can only attain impact if business owners achieve basic skills in bookkeeping and management.
Thank you, Raina. Now, yesterday the shilling maintained a narrow trading range, staying within the 2,500s. Let's have a look at how the markets are faring today. And with that financial report, let's have a short break now. When we come back, more news, including international news and sports as well.
Great news! With Airtel and Worried merging, you can now use Airtel Money or Worried Pesa to send money to any network at the lowest rates in Uganda. When you use Airtel Money or Worried Pesa, you can 1. Send money to any network. 2. Send money for as low as 400 shillings. And 3. Get 25% bonus airtime when you load using Airtel Money and Worried Pesa. That is very easy. Airtel and Worried. Let the celebrations begin.
Nange nchityamu oluzi nga mwebale nnyo. Ababoda mwebale mutulengera mpozi n'abanyakuzi n'abakubi b'obutayimbwa ati kyoyagala okumanya oluyimba lwo abakabi ani akoze atya ani ali luddawa ani akoze kalwa byonna byonna
sirigolola sikuba ngumi siri masannyalazo janga n'okwatako nga bebekulu ndi ku kaseri
live wano
kulimba wano kunsi buli omu kyanonya kuba bulungi wane ebisanyusa
kasabukanye mu muziki omulungi omukadde omupya
amma kati okuze ne mami wo takyayomba obude ku stage.
I'm next on stage now. Ready?
Wow.
bajjukira eminagiro gye beesuuliranga nenzijukira n'ebibindi bye banfuuyiranga. I got no time to play no game.
Wanooka ku TV yo gw'omanyi mwe munaamanya.
On the next episode of Mali, with Banging Kabosi changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
We already discussed about this, Usha.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm on a roll and your number just came up.
Nipate nyumba yangu iko safi. Sawa mama. Na sitapishana nawe na sitaki kusikia ukimtaja Miriam. Kama ameshindwa na kazi, niambie.
And what time they leave, I guess. This is Christmas for you, Fadili, huh?
If I didn't stand on the wall guarding Mali millions, we won't have any millions.
Get more on-net minutes than on any other network while using Uganda's clearest signal. Dial *134*1# to subscribe. Banging Kabosi changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. This is Ntv at One. Now, the land crisis issue in the country continues to be a contentious one and an important topic of debate, with many attributing the problem of this issue to the matter of policy. Stakeholders from civil society, legislature and the executive arms of government today converged to discuss problems associated with land.
The land crisis issue in Uganda continues to be a subject of debate. Different stakeholders today try to put into perspective why land has become a persistent problem.
There is a low intensity war going on, and this has to be resolved or it will explode and nobody will know how to pick up the pieces.
One of the causes of this crisis in land is the land tenure system. Elsewhere, Nigeria, the land is owned by the community. For you to acquire a plot in a particular area, you will apply to the head of that community. In Tanzania, the land is owned by the state.
While others attribute the failure of land policies to address the problem, the politics involved was singled out as the root cause to the problem of land.
Up to now, no land fund. How many years are these? Even if I can understand maybe there is little money or that kind of thing, but can't you at least constitute and say, we have finished within this, is it 20, how many years are these? Is it 17 years since the constitution was made? I can't remember. Don't you say that you have at least cleared Chivari with those quotas? Don't you see? But how much of money is being robbed day and night?
The issue in 2013, over 100 years later, would be how do you feed 30 million people on 97,000 square miles of land, which 5 million people occupied in 1900. And if we don't do something about it, the question will be in 2040, our vision date, how shall we feed 60 million people on still 97,000 square miles of land, which Uganda will still be.
However, Lands, Housing and Urban Development Minister Daudi Migereko confirms that indeed there is a land crisis in the country, but government is planning immediate solutions to eradicate the problem.
Cabinet has recently approved a national land policy, and what we are going to do is to make sure that one, we sensitize the public on in regard to this new national land policy. What we are going to do is to make sure that we operationalize this policy, and the view I have is that quite a number of issues that have been raised in this meeting are addressed in this policy.
Recently, President Museveni set up a lands committee headed by Land State Minister Ida Nantaru to address the issues of land conflicts in the country. Tensions mainly between landowners and squatters have been registered in several parts of the country. Suhail Mugabe, NTV.
Thank you, Sohel. Now, in Eco Talk this week, it is possible to have a tannery or a place where skins are processed, in this case animal skins, and done with all the trappings of the foul smell associated with it. And Solomon Seranja reports now.
The description of a tannery cannot be complete without the putrid stench that often comes from these industries. For people who live in the neighborhood of these tanneries, one has to just adjust to the foul smell. Residents of Lugazi Town Council partly blame the smell on the open pits where one of the tanneries dumps its wastes.
The thing is so terrible. You can't even take a cup of tea outside. Right here from 9, 10 there, even eating, it's terrible.
One tannery in the heart of Ginger Town appears to have found a right balance to this problem. On arrival at the Leather Industries Uganda Limited, I noticed that there was no foul smell at all in the production area. The staff were not wearing nozzle masks and work seemed to be going on normally. This left me wondering how the factory has managed to deal with the stench, especially at the production phase. Figures from the tannery indicate that only 15% of the entire hides and skins brought in as raw material is used, while 85% is disposed of as waste. Yet to convert just 1 kilogram of hide into actual leather, the tannery uses 40 to 50 liters of water. The tannery also uses different chemicals which are both acidic and alkaline in nature during the leather tanning. The factory's administrators say that the secret in dealing with the stench lies with managing the water effluents from the drums where the leather is tanned.
Well, the major cause of the stench or the smell in tanneries basically comes from the chemicals that we use. Because if you look at the section, this section in a tannery, which we call the beam house, and the other section that we call a tanning yard, the water from these two sections is not supposed to mix. Now, in other tanneries where there is poor management, because simply stated, poor managed tanneries will always smell. Where there is poor management, there is a mix-up of this water. So this water from this side is alkaline, the other one is acidic. If you mix it, it smells.
The factory has also established an effluent treatment plant to further manage the stench from the water.
This effluent, as you're standing at the treatment plant, I imagine you're not getting any smell because basically we have a complex mechanism with that heavy investment which manages the smell part of it. You know, when you put oxygen in this effluent, then it cannot smell because we are converting the sulfides in the water at this point into thiosulfates which do not smell.
This solid waste from the drums is disposed of into an open tank with a porous surface to completely remove the water. The waste is left to dry and can be used as manure.
Whatever we generate, we try as much as possible to maximize the use of every waste that we generate. So we generate the sludge, we use it as manure. And we treat the effluent to meet the standards, then we discharge it without harming the environment.
Solid waste, including fleshings and offcuts, could be another source of the smell if mismanaged. Now, the management at this particular tannery established a dry bed where they spread the waste before it's further treated. Hundreds of kilograms of offcuts and other waste are treated with sawdust and left for days to dry. This is an alternative to dumping the offcuts in open pits as done in some tanneries.
It squeezes out all the water. It has a nitrogen component in it. So we apply hydrogen peroxide, a chemical, which minimizes the smell on the ground. Once these offcuts are dry, we take them and burn them in our incinerator.
But all these initiatives have been the brainchild of clean production, a concept being promoted to conserve the environment.
If we are to remain competitive in an increasingly growing competitive market, then industries must become efficient, use resources efficiently in order to become profitable, more productive and competitive. And that's the only way we can achieve sustainable industrial development.
Solomon Serwanja, NTV EcoTalk.
Thank you so much. That's EcoTalk now. Let's have a look at what's happening on international news scene. Egypt's army has said it will guarantee the right to peaceful protests ahead of the traditional day for major rallies. And also, President Evo Morales has threatened to close the U.S. embassy in Bolivia after his official plane was banned from European airspace yesterday. Mass protests are expected in the Egyptian capital, Cairo, after a coalition of Islamist groups led by Muslim Brotherhood called for demonstrations in response to the military coup that led to the ouster of Mohamed Morsi as the country's president. The coalition urged people to take part in a Friday rejection protest, a call that is being seen as a taste of whether Morsi still has a support base in the country and how the army will deal with it. Morsi, who is Egypt's first democratically elected president, belongs to the Muslim Brotherhood movement. However, Egypt's military has appealed for reconciliation and warned against unrest as police rounded up senior Islamists ahead of the planned Brotherhood protests. And elsewhere, Bolivian President Evo Morales has demanded for an apology from European nations and threatened to close the U.S. embassy after his homebound plane was forced to land in Vienna earlier this week amid suspicions that U.S. fugitive Edward Snowden was on board. His plane was forced to land in Austria on Tuesday after France, Portugal, Italy and Spain apparently barred it from flying through their airspace. The Bolivian president blamed Washington for pressurizing European countries into refusing him passage. His presidential jet was routed as he traveled from a meeting in Russia where he had suggested he would be willing to consider an asylum application from Mr. Snowden. The former CIA contractor is believed to be holed up at the transit area of Moscow airport after leaking details of a vast U.S. surveillance program. On to sport now. Tyson Gay maintained the pressure on Usain Bolt ahead of August's World Championships in Moscow with a blistering run in the Diamond League meeting in Switzerland, while Argentine striker Gonzalo Higuain is expected to seal a move from Real Madrid to Arsenal later today. And these stories and more we have in our international sports roundup.
Argentine striker Gonzalo Higuain is expected to complete a £23 million move to English side Arsenal later today after Real Madrid gave him permission to formally reach an agreement with the London club. Higuain is expected to sign a deal on £100,000 a week, putting him among the club's top earners, and Arsenal remain keen to pair him up with Wayne Rooney should Manchester United be willing to let him go. Elsewhere, former Arsenal and Chelsea striker Nicolas Anelka has joined West Bromwich Albion. Anelka was most recently player coach at Chinese side Shanghai Shenhua and also had a loan spell at Juventus. The 24-year-old signed a one-year deal at Hawthorns last evening. Still in the transfers, Brazil midfielder Paulinho will undergo a medical today ahead of his proposed move from Corinthians to Tottenham for a fee just under £17 million. Shifting gears, Lotus driver Kimi Räikkönen says interest from Red Bull will not affect his chances in the World Championship battle. Now Räikkönen closed the gap between him and Sebastian Vettel to the top of the Formula 1 standings to 34 points. However, more interest has surrounded Räikkönen's chances of moving to Red Bull since Mark Webber announced he would leave the team. From 4 wheels to 2 wheels, Germany's Andre Greipel won a sprint finish at the Tour de France, beating points leader Peter Sagan of Slovakia and fellow German Marcel Kittel in the dash for the line. Daryl Impey, however, stole all the limelight by taking the leader's yellow jersey from teammate Simon Gerrans. South African Impey became the first African to wear yellow in the Tour. To the track now, American Tyson Gay clocked the second fastest time of the year over 100 meters to win the Diamond League event in Lucerne. Gay, who clocked an impressive 9.79 seconds, beat Jamaican Asaf Powell to second position. Powell's compatriot Usain Bolt decided not to compete in Switzerland and will instead run over 200 meters in Paris on Sunday.
From Asaf Powell, 9.78 plus 2 meters per second. That is legal. That is legal.
Finally, Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray will be looking to qualifying for Sunday's Wimbledon Open men's final. Djokovic takes on Argentine Juan Martin Del Potro, while Murray entertains touring Paul Jazzy Johannes. Yesterday, Sabine Lisicki and Marion Bartoli booked their places in the women's final due on tomorrow.
Alfred Odong there with the very latest from the sports world. Now let's have a look at what the weather forecast is saying. That's the weather for today. Somebody once said that you can never be sure about those two, weather and love. I don't know myself. But anyway, before we go, the 20th anniversary of the coronation of the Kabaka of Buganda, the story of Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, the journey of his trials and his successes, starting this Friday, only on NTV Kusawemu and NTV Weekend Edition. The Kabaka's coronation, only on NTV. And that brings NTV at One to a close. From all the NTV News team, have a good afternoon.
NTV, turning on your world.